put it on here actually too. Let's put it on here, shall we? Yep, what's up, guys? We got another video today we're doing for the stream. Did I just? Okay, I did that. I had to save that video to put as the stream thumbnail because that's the first video we're watching, and I think probably the most relevant because it's the longest one. It's gonna be a bit of a shorter one today, but they're both like kind of longer videos, so probably not too much shorter. So with that being said, we're investigating Walmart's radioactive shrimp. Now, I don't know what this is about. I remember there being like some shrimp in cereal a minute ago. What was it from, who was it? It was that cereal company that makes like, was it Kellogg's? I'm not gonna put dirt on Kellogg's name if it wasn't Kellogg's, but who was it that had the shrimp in the cereal? I think they had like shrimp tails and stuff, and they were trying to damage control it. They were like, well, that's not shrimp. That what you're seeing is cinnamon deposits that are clumped up, knowing damn well those are shrimp tails. But that's besides the point. Let's check out what Walmart's doing with that. Okay. Yeah.
Back in August, something strange happened.
Nearly 85,000 bags of radioactive contamination.
A frozen shrimp sold at Walmart.
Long-term exposure could increase cancer risk.
Walmart shrimp was radioactive, and the FDA was telling people all over the United States to throw it away. The most shocking thing, though, was what they weren't
telling
saying.
them to?
How? How on earth did the shrimp become radioactive? What kind of mistake could even cause something like this? Or perhaps
that
was
is kind of
something
weird.
more intentional. At the time, answers were nowhere to be found, and within days it seemed most people had forgotten that it had even happened, moving on to the next attention-grabbing headline. But we didn't forget, and luckily, neither did the investigators who solved this mystery. The alert originally came from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Multiple shipping containers were flagged for abnormal radiation levels all over the country at ports in LA, Houston, Savannah, and Miami. Following the alert, the FDA conducted laboratory testing on both the containers and the shrimp inside, which confirmed contamination of cesium-137. Any detection of this cesium isotope in food triggers a serious investigation, because this radioactive isotope doesn't exist in nature on its own, and has no business being in food or any food production and processing. Cesium-137 is a radioactive isotope created during nuclear fission, when heavier elements like uranium split apart inside nuclear reactors or nuclear weapons. Because it does not exist in large amounts naturally, when it is detected in the environment, it signals contamination from a man-made nuclear source. And again, this isotope
nuclear power plant leak or
extremely
something?
rare and dangerous.
Or did it come from
Cesium-137
overseas?
has a half-life of about 30 years, which means it remains radioactive for a long time and can persist in ecosystems, soil, and food chains. So you can see why countries
So it could have been
frantic
from a long
about
time
finding
ago.
the source of this contamination. If it's not contained in time and spreads to other places, its decay could be a huge health issue. The decaying of cesium-137 releases two types of radiation: beta particles, which can damage skin and tissues at close range, and gamma rays, which are far more penetrating and can move through the body and surrounding materials. Externally, a strong source nearby could expose someone to penetrating gamma radiation. Internally, the risk becomes much greater. If someone ingests or inhales cesium-137, the isotope can enter the bloodstream and settle into soft tissues. From there, it continues to irradiate surrounding cells. This chronic low-level internal exposure is dangerous because radiation can break chemical bonds, damage DNA, and steadily increase the risk of cancer over time. So, what did the U.S. government do about this national health risk? In a dramatic speech on the Senate floor, Senator John Kennedy stood in front of a still image from the movie Alien and warned Americans,
Mr. President, this is a photograph of the alien from the movie Alien.
Okay, yeah.
This
Where are you
is
going
what
with this?
you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries. If you eat it, how could you end up looking like the alien in the Alien? Because the shrimp was radioactive. I kid you not. It had a radioactive isotope in it.
He is old, man.
137.
This is an old man.
It'll kill you. Even if it doesn't turn you into the alien if you eat this stuff, I guarantee you'll grow an extra ear. This shrimp is grown in conditions that you can't possibly imagine.
I both like this and don't like this at the same time.
Dirty water.
Like, I like the fact that he's like adequately expressing the severity of this, but maybe he's just lost his touch with it and his charisma with it to be able to spin it to make people be like, hey, look, this is a huge problem. But personally, I kind of like it. I think it draws attention to it. It's like, hey, you're gonna end up looking like this guy if you eat the shrimp. Which is obviously hyperbole, but like, I respect it because it did say it could damage DNA and like radiate cells and stuff like that. So I don't know. Technically, somewhere down the lineage, it could look like someone could start looking like that from eating the radioactive shrimp. I won't know, but I feel like it might have actually done the opposite effect and like made him take it less seriously because he was like playing around with the alien memes. Hopefully that's not the case though, but I don't know. I like it and don't like it.
They shoot the shrimp full of antibiotics. I confess I didn't know they were shooting them full of this radioactive isotope.
Now, sorry to burst anyone's bubble, but no, cesium-137 exposure would not actually turn you into an alien, cause an alien to grow from your chest, or even cause you to grow an extra ear. While
he's an old man, bro.
Can be harmful at high doses.
Who brought him that like picture? Was that his idea, or was that one of his like younger counterparts that like brought that and is like, hey, use this to show them how the ramifications can affect people? Because that'd be crazy.
Prolonged internal exposure. There is no scientific basis for mutations or physical deformities, and certainly nothing resembling the sci-fi imagery Kennedy played. So, since Kennedy seems to be just as equally confused as he is confusing, let's have a look at
he's an old man.
Of cesium-137 exposure and see what horrors it's truly capable of. The Goiânia accident, which occurred in September 1987 in the Brazilian state of Goiás, is considered one of the worst radiological accidents in history. It began when two scrap metal scavengers, Roberto dos Santos Alves and Wagner Mota Pereira, broke into an abandoned private clinic for cancer treatment on the night of September 13th, 1987, and found it.
Why'd they do that?
Machine. They didn't know what the device was, only that it looked valuable, so they dismantled it enough to move it and took the device to Roberto's home in a wheelbarrow. That night, both thieves began feeling sick. Roberto and Wagner were both vomiting, but Wagner was in worse shape. He was experiencing diarrhea while feeling dizzy.
Diarrhea, that's never a good sign. Swelling too?
Wagner Pereira went to get checked out by a doctor 2 days later on the 15th of September. He was sent home with a diagnosis of food poisoning. The next day, Roberto was successful in opening up the device and found a small capsule. He then broke the capsule open with a screwdriver, revealing the substance inside.
What is that?
Deep blue tone. To someone
nah, that looks like some magic space dust, bro. That is not to be consumed or touched unless you know what that is. That looks like some kind of magic space dust. That looks like pixie stick if it wasn't pixie stick, and you don't want anything like that showing up if it's not a pixie stick.
Idea what it was.
Unless you like know what it is.
Roberto went on scooping it out of the capsule to have a closer look.
Nah, that's crazy.
Was powdery, so he thought maybe it was a cool type of gunpowder. He tried a lighter to test it out, but it wouldn't ignite.
He's stupid. Oh my gosh, yo, he could have blown up that whole like area. He doesn't know what that thing is, bro. His whole arm could have been gone instantly. His whole like he could have been vaporized, evaporated. That's crazy. We're just lighting up random chemicals on fire. Oh my gosh. That's like L survival instincts right there.
Glowing material that he brought it to his house and showed the mysterious blue glowing substance to his family and neighbors.
Look. I understand. You probably
started feeling sick, but they didn't.
Yeah, you probably like. I get it, right? You're excited. You're like, look at this magic blue powder. This stuff is so cool, but like, you don't know what that is, especially in the place that you found it. That could have been literally anything.
Think anything of it.
Stuff that you don't even know exists.
A week went by with the glowing capsule admired.
You can't just be like lighting it on fire and like bringing it in the house and like showing it everyone, let everyone touch it. Like, what the heck? What type of sense does that make? He's trying to get the whole like city wiped out.
His brother, Ivo, even scooped some of it up to take to his home nearby and spread it on the floor where his daughter
For what?
The 6-year-old girl, Lady Das Neves Ferreira, admired the blue light coming from the powder.
Yeah, it's cool, but like, we're not in the Stone Age, bro. Like, glowing powder, we're not in the Stone Age, bro. Like, little glowing powder, like, yeah, it's cool, but like, until you find out what that is, you should not be going this hard on it.
Her mother, how she could glow too. Lady, along with her mother, Lourdes, also got sick. Mother, how its shiny glow, and even smearing some of the powder on her body to show her mother how she could glow too. Lady, along with her mother, Lourdes, also got sick. In
my
meantime,
gosh.
was able to sell the capsule.
They're about to get powers. They're getting superpowers. They're about to get superpowers off this, hopefully. Hopefully this story has a good ending and they just got superpowers.
Severely ill all of a sudden. With news of her sister-in-law also getting sick, she took the medical device from the scrapyard to their sold it.
They're about to be like, what's it called? Starlight from The Boys. Hopefully they just come out of here like Starlight and we can call it a day.
Hospital to have it checked out. By that time, it had been 15 days since the radiotherapy device had been stolen. Thanks to a visiting medical physicist's scintillation counter, the hospital quickly confirmed that the substance was radioactive and immediately notified government officials. But the work ahead was insurmountable. Over the course of several days, dozens of people had been exposed to the radioactive substance before authorities realized a radiological event was unfolding. People had touched it, rubbed it on their skin, carried it from house to house.
They're about to get powers.
The glowing substance was in a dust form and had transferred.
If they don't get superpowers, I'm gonna be upset.
Furniture and anything it came in contact with families unknowingly spreading microscopic particles.
You said easily lighting it up.
The substance was in a dust form and had transferred easily to hands, hair, furniture, and anything that came in contact with families unknowingly spreading microscopic particles of cesium-137 from houses, clothes, food, and even soil that it had accidentally been sprinkled on. And what happens when these people were exposed to cesium-137, you might ask? In this case, the radioactive isotope harmed people in two main ways: external gamma exposure and internal contamination.
So the same stuff.
Strong gamma radiation, which penetrates deeply into the body, damaging tissues and organs even from a distance. But the bigger danger came from internal contamination, when people like Ivo's 6-year-old daughter, Lady, accidentally ingested the cesium dust when she was eating an egg on the floor after playing with the magical glowing glitter. Once inside the body, cesium gets distributed widely throughout soft tissues, especially muscle. This internal irradiation
continues
for as long as the isotope remains inside the
L survival instincts.
Radiation that damages DNA and rapidly dividing cells. And, well, there's no easy way to get it out of the cells once it's in. The girl had to be taken from her home by an international team of experts to the
Norbert Kaiser.
She was confined to an isolation.
Hey, he's my cousin, probably.
Being exposed themselves. The little girl's whole upper body swelled up, and her kidneys and lungs shut down. She suffered internal bleeding, while her hair fell out in clumps, with nothing left to do for Lady. On October 23rd, 1 month after she was first exposed to the cesium, she passed away from generalized infection and septicemia, or blood poisoning. In addition to Lady's unfortunate death, with the news of the incident being broadcast on local and national channels, worried Goianians crowded in hospitals to get checked out in fear that they had been exposed. Out of almost 130,000 people, 249 were found to be contaminated by the cesium-137. Some of them even still had some residue found on their skin, and 20 of those people had to undergo treatment for radiation sickness. The two thieves, Roberto and Wagner, got off relatively easy. Wagner, who was sent home with a food poisoning diagnosis, had held the capsule in his hand and had a burn in the same shape and size of the capsule's aperture. Doctors had to amputate several of his fingers in order to save the rest of his hand.
He had a burn?
Had held the capsule in his hand to go treatment for radiation sickness. The two thieves, Roberto and Wagner, got off relatively easy. Wagner, who was sent home with a food poisoning diagnosis, had held the capsule in his hand and had a burn in the same shape and size of the capsule's aperture. Doctors had to amputate several of his fingers in order to save the rest of his hand. Roberto, on the other hand, had it worse, since he had tinkered longer with the capsule in order to dislodge it from the device. With the prolonged exposure to the cesium-137, his right forearm became ulcerated and was eventually amputated. While
so he did lose his arm.
Ferreira survived. His wife, Maria Gabriela, who had solved the mysterious illness around her, wasn't so lucky. Even with treatment, she suffered from internal bleeding in her limbs, eyes, and digestive tract. Her hair fell out in clumps lumps like her niece Lady, and she suffered through mental confusion, diarrhea, and renal insufficiency before passing away from septicemia and general infection.
No.
The other two people who passed away from the incident were two of Dever's
Dang,
employees,
man.
18-year-old Admilson Alves de Souza and 22-year-old Israel Batista dos Santos. They had both worked on the radioactive source to extract different materials for the scrapyard and died within a day of each other. For the remaining people who had been exposed to the radioactive dust, the health effects were severe. Many of them developed acute radiation syndrome, vomiting, diarrhea, profound weakness, skin burns that developed days later, massive organs and tissue damage, and dramatic drops in white blood cells and platelets.
Radiation is crazy.
And even though most of the people could be treated, cleanup also had to be done for the neighborhood where the glowing blue powder had been passed around. Entire homes had to be demolished, with topsoil removed from several sites. Countless personal belongings were also destroyed to contain
the soil.
The Goiânia accident ultimately became a prime example of why cesium-137 is treated so seriously today. It spreads easily. It is nearly invisible once not glowing. It can enter the body through multiple routes, and its gamma emissions can inflict life-threatening damage. Another well-known cesium-137 exposure incident happened in Kramatorsk, Ukraine in the 80s. Over several years, residents of an apartment began suffering unexplained illnesses. 2 teenage children in the family died of leukemia, followed by their mother. When the remaining father moved out, another family moved in with their son, who soon died of leukemia as well. The father of the second family thought something was fishy, so he started demanding answers. Doctors were puzzled because the pattern resembled radiation sickness, but there was no known exposure. The true cause wasn't discovered until 1989, when inspectors brought a Geiger counter to the apartment during a final investigation. The device registered extremely high gamma radiation coming from inside the wall next to the children's room. Right,
they had it in the walls?
After breaking the concrete open, they discovered that embedded in the wall was a tiny capsule of cesium-137. Investigators eventually found out how it got into the wall in the first place, and we actually have a whole video about it that we'll leave a link to in the description below if you'd like to learn more. But
that's crazy.
Where people were internally contaminated by particles of cesium-137, the Kramatorsk victims had suffered continuous external irradiation from a point source only a few feet away from where they slept. This type of long-term exposure damages bone marrow and rapidly dividing cells.
Whoa.
Higher risk of cancers such as leukemia. What officials were worried about in the radioactive shrimp case was ongoing exposure for millions of people if contaminated products entered the food supply. Even small amounts can be radiotoxic if they
whoa.
The gamma radiation
how did that junk even get into the shrimp? How'd that even get into shrimp then? That's like causing what? Where the heck was this shrimp at? Or how did they even get like nuclear? Is that like present? This video dropped 2 days ago. Yo, what? How did that even get in there?
They needed to find the source.
They're investigating it now? Okay, yeah.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
How did it get
Has it been dealt with?
All of the shipping containers that arrived in LA, Houston, Savannah, and Miami had something in common. They all came from the same place. A supply chain review connected the radioactive shrimp to Indonesian exporter PT
Indonesia,
Sejati, also known as BMS Foods, and subsequently to distributors in the States, including Walmart's Great Value label, Southway Foods, and Aquastar. And even though no confirmed contaminated packages were found in stores, the FDA issued warnings and recalls to pull the shrimp products off of store shelves out of precaution. The discovery
okay. So they already recalled it. Okay, that's good.
Were found in stores. The FDA issued warnings and recalls to pull the shrimp products off of store shelves out of precaution. The discovery did not begin with a complaint where someone got seriously sick or from random food testing after the shrimp was distributed. Thankfully, radiation...
Yeah, they said, hey, we see that junk now. We're going to take that off the shelves right now. That's good handling of the situation right there. WFDA.
Land Security, designed to detect nuclear materials, caught the contaminated shrimp shipments before they could ever make it to stores. But detecting the radioactive material and preventing its distribution is only one part of the story. Now, both the U.S. and Indonesian government officials had to trace the investigation back to the origin point. Where in Indonesia did these BMS Foods containers come from? And why were they
where?
Tracing back the specific containers, BMS Foods found out that the ones that were found to have signs of radioactivity had been passing through an industrial zone called Shikandi Industrial Estate in Banten Province on the island of Java, a little over an hour drive from Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. The government cordoned off the industrial zone entirely. In the meantime, online rumors ran
That's
rampant
good.
with people debating if the shrimp were contaminated by the Fukushima nuclear power plant accident of 2011. Disaster struck when a massive earthquake triggered a tsunami that ravaged Japan's northeastern coast. The tsunami overwhelmed the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, leading to core meltdowns in 3 reactors. Hydrogen explosions damaged several reactor buildings, and significant amounts of radioactive material escaped into the air and sea. Large releases of iodine-131, cesium-134, and cesium-137 spread across surrounding areas into the Pacific Ocean. This contamination created measurable levels of cesium in seawater
and that drifted over to Indonesia?
Years following the accident. The disaster prompted global concern about long-term ocean contamination, especially with cesium-137's 30-year half-life. Contamination in the ocean can also
30-year half-life is crazy.
Currents, and is impossible to really treat once it's inside the water. Which is why years after the incident, Fukushima returned to the news when Japan began releasing treated wastewater from the plant into the Pacific.
How do they treat it?
Had been stored on site for over a decade and underwent filtration to remove most radionuclides through a system called ALPS, which stands for Advanced Liquid Processing System. While the filtration removed cesium-137 and most other isotopes, it could not remove tritium, a low-energy radioactive form of hydrogen. Instead, they diluted it heavily with seawater, which is the procedure on how to handle radioactive waste. Japan started to discharge this
ALPS. Oh, that's like the... Wait a minute. Alps treated water? Huh. Interesting.
Which is the procedure on how to handle radioactive waste. Japan started to discharge this treated water gradually into the ocean in 2023. This sparked
I wonder if that's the same as one of the things that I'm invested in. One of the
contamination in seafood, despite regulatory approval from the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Probably not.
Given this context, when U.S. regulators detected cesium-137 in shrimp shipments, many people assumed a connection to the Fukushima meltdown. However, experts had a different theory. In the
what's the theory?
One of the most important clues came from shipping containers stored inside the cordoned-off Chikandi Modern Industrial Estate, where the seafood processors for BMS Foods operated. When Indonesian and radiation safety officials began scanning the area, they discovered that several containers sitting inside the industrial estate registered abnormal levels of gamma radiation. According to reporting by The Guardian and AP News, some of these containers measured well above background radiation, strong enough that they immediately signaled the presence of cesium-137, and the location of the containers were concentrated to one spot, near a steel manufacturer company called Peter Metal Technology that processed
Peter Metal.
With the proximity of the metal processing facility, investigators started reconstructing the contamination pathway that led to the irradiated containers sitting in the industrial area. There were a few ways that the contamination might have spread. One possibility is that a lost industrial gauge or medical device containing cesium-137, like in our previous cases from Brazil and Ukraine, might have been unknowingly smelted by the metal processing company.
I think it's like if... Oh, well, I guess they said unknowingly smelted, so I'm guessing they didn't know that it was there, but like... CS-137, so that's what those little containers look like. That's good to know, because if I ever see some of those containers, I'm not messing with it. But, if they know about this stuff, why, like, what is to be done about this stuff? Honestly, I feel like, do they have to treat, like, can they even, like, properly treat this stuff, like, within the half-life? Can they, like, send it somewhere to, like, be treated in, like, a contained environment or something like that? Is there, like, a world, they need to pull up and develop, like, a world, radiation treatment center or something for stuff like this, so that everybody who has like their radiation stuff, they send it through and then like get it processed and all that, because that's crazy, especially with all that trade going on. Like, people can do whatever they want internally, but like if there's so much trade going on and people are like using resources back and forth, they can't control what other people are doing with their stuff, and so that creates problems, you know what I mean? So I feel like they should just develop like a blanket solution to deal with that.
When this happens, the cesium can aerosolize or fragment into fine particles that settle onto nearby surfaces, like the shipping containers sitting outside. The ways that cesium-laden dust or metal particulates could have spread beyond the smelter's property by wind, foot traffic, shared equipment, or movement of materials, just like how the blue powder was easily spread in the Goiânia case. If this theory is correct, it would explain how the contamination remained in the industrial area instead of appearing broadly across Indonesia's coastlines or shrimp farms, which would have been a massive issue altogether.
Yeah, that would have been crazy. That could have wiped out an entire, like, city.
The theory that the radioactive material was coming from the ocean. But can it be
that could have wiped out several cities?
The way scientists can often distinguish the origin of cesium contamination is by looking at the ratio of cesium-134 to cesium-137. Nuclear reactor accidents like Fukushima release a mixture of both isotopes. Cesium-134 has a short half-life of about 2 years, meaning it decays quickly. After Fukushima in 2011, seawater and fish near Japan showed a recognizable fingerprint, elevated cesium-137 accompanied by detectable cesium-134. Even more than a decade later, trace amounts of cesium-134 could still confirm that the contamination originally came from a reactor accident, because cesium-134 does not exist in significant amounts in weapons test fallout or most industrial sources. This dual isotope presence creates a signature that can be used to link contamination to a meltdown event. Industrial radiological sources, however, such as medical therapy devices, density gauges, well logging tools, or scrap metal containing orphan cesium-137 capsules, typically contain pure cesium-137 with no cesium-134 present. When such a source is accidentally melted in a smelter or broken open, the resulting contamination shows a single isotope profile, cesium-137 alone. Investigators examining the Indonesian shrimp.
So if it has 134, it came from a reactor meltdown, but if it has 137, it came from like one of those things, or like weapons.
Detected did not show a dual isotope signature. No cesium-134, only 137. This
so it's from weapons or like a medical
origin, not a reactor meltdown like Fukushima. Now that officials knew where the contamination was coming from, they could then move on to mitigating the damage. The first step, getting in contact with the steel manufacturing company, was an unexpected issue for them. The theory of an accidentally smelted cesium capsule being the culprit was very likely. But getting Peter Metal Technology to open up for investigation, that wasn't going to happen.
What? What do you mean that wasn't going to happen?
Management of the company had fled to China as the police.
They fled to China? Bro, come on, y'all got to take some kind of responsibility for this, man. Y'all can't just flee to China after things go wrong. Why is that like the the golden default? It's like, yeah, we're gonna flee to China now. Come on, man. At least take some responsibility and change some stuff.
It appeared that 20 factories linked to the Chikandi industrial estate were affected by the contamination. The facility factories linked to the China.
How many?
The police launched a criminal investigation. It appeared that 20 factories linked to the Chikandi industrial estate were affected by the contamination. The facility that
that's like a countrywide thing.
A mile away from the metal smelting facility, and another facility manufacturing footwear in the area was tied to boxes of shoes flagged for traces of radiation by Dutch authorities.
Bro, you got irradiated shoes, bro. They better have powers, bro. Nah, they better turn into Trackstar, man, or what's his name, A-Train, man. That's crazy. It's in the shoes too.
Here, Hanif Faisal Nurafiq, Indonesia's environment minister, explained that the radiation level measured in Chikandi reached 1,000 microsieverts. In an interview with Nuclear Newswire, Steve Bigalki, chair of nuclear and radiological engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology, said, 50 hours in such an environment would give us our annual worker dose within the United States. 9 employees working in the area were found to have exposure
5 hours?
And subsequently treated at Jakarta in a government hospital. With the industrial area decontaminated, a radiation monitor
that's a lot.
was installed in Chikanda to prevent
5 hours would be a year's worth.
The damn stuff's radioactive.
So how true were Kennedy's claims about this radioactive contamination?
Called cesium-137.
Okay.
It'll kill you. Even if it doesn't turn you into the alien if you eat this stuff, I guarantee you'll grow an extra year.
The FDA's limit for cesium-137
he shouldn't have said guarantee.
is 1,200 becquerels per kilogram. The samples from the shipping containers measured around.
Now it sounds like he's like joking. Nah, hopefully they don't take it less serious than it needs to be taken, because he shouldn't even really be needing to, unless this is like if this isn't common knowledge, because I didn't know about any of this, but if this isn't common knowledge to like the people that he's speaking to right now, I guess he's talking to the president, and I don't know who else he's speaking to, but if it's not like common knowledge to whoever he's speaking to about it, hopefully they don't get the wrong message from it. and like don't take it seriously because he's being like because he's putting hyperbole on it.
17 times lower than the level considered concerning for human health. The FDA has also stated that no illnesses have been reported. So while the recall was absolutely the right move,
yeah, that recall was a W.
There was no
W recall.
Panic. Kennedy's claims
WFDA.
that contamination would cause deaths if eaten was not true. A lethal radiation dose requires either sustained internal exposure or proximity to a high-activity source, such as a lost industrial capsule. Even if someone hypothetically ate shrimp at the measured contamination level, the dose would be negligible. Orders of magnitude below what is known to cause radiation sickness, cancer, or organ damage.
They shoot the shrimp full of antibiotics. I confess I didn't know they were shooting them full of this radioactive isotope.
His assertion that Indonesia was injecting the shrimp full of radioactive isotopes and antibiotics is also factually wrong. The radioactive isotope was not injected into shrimp or used.
Yeah, that's like a little bit. That's kind of antagonistic. I feel like that's creating more problems than it needs to by being antagonistic about it. Like, oh, I didn't know they were shooting radiation into the shrimp. Well, they probably weren't. It was just a contamination that like happened to happen that they were dealing with, and they didn't know where the contamination came from. That's a completely different statement. Saying that, oh, the shrimp from these factories got contaminated, but they don't know where it came from yet, is a totally different statement than saying like, oh, I didn't know they were shooting up the shrimp with this compound, because that's crazy. That's like, and he's supposed to be like an upper level official talking like that? That's crazy. Why is he that antagonistic for stuff that we don't even really know about the source of it yet? That's just crazy work right now, man. That's crazy work. I hope he's like properly communicating the severity of it at the very least. But
in aquaculture, the contamination was surface level in the form of dust. And lastly, Kennedy claimed that the contaminated shrimp had been sold inside the U.S.
The FDA and NOAA, which I'll talk about in a second, found that there were 26,000.
Bro, these are our senators right now, bro. Honestly. He might be a little too old for this. I'm not gonna lie. Might be a little too old for this, man. Might need some younger blood. Or at least some less hostile and antagonistic blood. Thinking the world's out to get you. When it probably isn't even like that.
Packages of shrimp cocktail and 18,000 bags of frozen cooked shrimp being sold once again at Walmart and at Kroger's
after this video
throughout the United States.
Wait, they said Kroger too? Hold up.
Bags of frozen cooked shrimp being sold once again at Walmart and at Kroger's throughout the United States.
Walmart and Kroger.
Containing the same.
Yeah, I don't shop at Walmart, but I do shop at Kroger.
How could this happen in America? This is unconscionable.
Even though Kennedy said that Walmart and Kroger sold the radioactive shrimp, in actuality,
I agree.
No confirmed contaminated products ever made it onto store
probably
shelves.
Too old for this.
Border Patrol would have detected the radiation before that. Despite this, retailers still voluntarily pulled products from the shelves just because they came from the same Indonesian supplier, not because they tested positive. Another question with this whole thing is, why does the U.S. have to import shrimp all the way from Indonesia? The United States does catch and farm some of its own shrimp, particularly in the Gulf of Mexico.
Virginia.
Louisiana historically lands some of the highest volumes of wild shrimp, followed by Texas, Alabama, and Florida. Yet domestic production covers only a small fraction of what Americans consume, and shrimp is the single most popular seafood in the country.
Shrimp is the fruit of the sea. You can barbecue it, boil it, broil it, bake it, saute it.
He says the fruit of the sea?
In the country.
What movie is that?
Shrimp is the fruit of the sea.
Oh, Forrest Gump.
Barbecue it, boil it, broil it, bake it, saute it. There's shrimp kebabs, shrimp creole, shrimp gumbo.
Hold on. In America, right? America's built on like Christian values and stuff, right? Hold on. Let's continue.
Deep fried, stir fried. There's pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, pepper shrimp, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes, shrimp burger, shrimp sandwich.
The thing is, global exporters can ship huge volumes at lower costs
rapidly
than
in
American shippers
Indonesia.
can match. This has caused domestic fleets to
They said
shrink
shrimp is the
over
most
years,
popular
as fuel
seafood
prices,
here.
labor costs, and increasingly severe storms in the Gulf make shrimping more expensive and risky. Domestic shrimp farming is also limited due to more land costs, regulatory requirements, and environmental considerations compared to countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and India, where aquaculture dominates the seafood economy. The large-scale pond farming that they do year-round would be extremely difficult and expensive to replicate in the U.S. As a result, more than 90% of shrimp eaten in the U.S. is imported, largely from Southeast Asia and even Latin American countries like Ecuador and Mexico. If Americans were to theoretically source more of
that
their
makes
shrimp
sense. If it's the most popular, that makes sense that it would be imported. A lot of it would be imported because if we're not catching enough shrimp in Louisiana, it's got to come from somewhere. If it's not on like the coastal cities,
consumers would need to accept higher prices and more seasonal availability.
Excuse me. Yeah, seasonal availability.
In the U.S. is imported, largely
yeah,
from
people like they
Southeast
shrimp
Asia
all
and even
day
Latin
though.
American countries like Ecuador and Mexico. If Americans were to theoretically source more of their shrimp from domestic fisheries, consumers would need to accept higher prices and more seasonal availability. At the end of the day, looking at the big picture, with the size of their national appetite for shrimp, Americans lean heavily on
Couldn't cut that.
Framing isolated rejected batches as proof that imported shrimp is unsafe and then imposing tariffs that raise prices across the board ultimately leaves consumers paying more for less. And that's not really great value,
tariffs.
is it?
Paying more for less.
Thanks for watching. Before you go, we want to share a quick...
Yo, this was such a good video. W video, bro.
That video covered a
caught a
controversial
cannibal.
story that genuinely needed exposure. Unfortunately, it was demonetized. And as we continue
it got demonetized.
Shine a light on uncomfortable
I bet. I was gonna say because that's like that video. Yeah, I was gonna say that video is definitely like one of the more like. That's probably gonna be some touchy subject or somewhat graphic. That's probably why I was like waiting to watch that. That's definitely why I'm like waiting to watch that one until like. There's gonna be a time and place for that one, but. Time and place was not when I had picked originally. I remember we came back to it. We were gonna watch it, but didn't that day. I think I deleted the VOD from it because I was like, okay, I only watched like an episode, like a minute into it, and I was like, nah, we'll switch it up.
If you'd like to support us in continuing this work, then we'd like to invite you to join us over on stack.com/.
Okay, stack.com.
Stack is a platform similar to Patreon, except it takes a
I'll let it
smaller
play for a
cut from
second.
creators'
That's a
donations
W
while
video.
providing the same service. For $5 a month, members get access to behind-the-scenes production discussions,
now I am gonna go
and bonus videos that simply wouldn't be possible
get this
on
stuff
YouTube
downstairs and
today.
refill before we do the next one.
This
The
just
next
gives
one,
those
the
who
last
wanna
one.
have an extra way to support the channel and get extra content in return. You can become a member.
Go pause it real quick. All right, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Where's the thing? Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. And we're back.
Remember by going to stack.com/brew or by clicking the link in the description.
Yeah, this is a crazy one though. I didn't know.
It's because of fans like you that
the
make
evil
this channel
invention
possible.
of a
And a big
psychopath.
special
What is
thanks
that?
to our top-tier members,
Is that a human
Nexus
burial
and
or something?
See you folks
Fan
on
and a
the
light. Is that like a buried alive type thing? What? Okay, I don't know. Whatever.
LinkedIn is the worst social media platform
next video
ever made. You see, maybe you're just searching for a job, or you might.
Hold on. Before we do that, let me do another video because I might actually dice this one in half. So we'll do a little intro. What's up, guys? We got another video today. We're watching LinkedIn is Everything Wrong with Society by Moon. Now, is it? I have a feeling I know what he's about to say, but let's see.
Might just be trying to do some.
Be sure to like and subscribe. You know what I mean, like that. You want to catch
LinkedIn
someone.
is sure to disappoint. Trying to use it to actually get a job is completely soul-crushing, especially for new graduates. You've spent years on your education,
yeah, that's valid
away
from what
to
I've
eventually
seen.
get qualified for a good job. Then you can't find a job. No matter how hard you try, you just get strung along by multi-stage interviews and flaky recruiters. That's where LinkedIn comes in. With its monthly subscriptions and promises of a way into the professional world, the
Monthly
platform
subscriptions
plays
is
on
crazy.
you can spend months or even years looking for a job on the platform, slowly losing your savings and your sanity as the never-ending search.
Nah, I feel like a monthly subscription to LinkedIn is kind of a scam because, like, if you're on LinkedIn, first of all, why do you have a monthly subscription? 2, if you're on LinkedIn, you're looking for a job, how are you paying for that monthly subscription?
Drags on. The worst part is, it doesn't seem like there's an alternative anymore. Today,
But that's what the video's about. Everything wrong with society.
Con artists. Making a real connection with your connections is very rare. But
AI slop.
To search drags on. The worst part is, it doesn't seem like there's an alternative anymore. Today, the site is full of empty corporate bragging, AI-written slop and con artists. Making a real connection with your connections is very rare. But you've got to try and deal with this all to try and break into lots of
get
industries.
me the farthest away from any of this.
This woman is making up stories about how her LinkedIn follow account finally won her daughter's respect. All of that.
What? What? LinkedIn follower count finally won her daughter's respect. That's a bar. That's a crazy bar. Mom, is it true that you have a lot of followers on LinkedIn? For a split second, she looked like she actually admired me. And gave her the full download. Wild, right? LMAO. Not that I'm not happy for her, I guess, but like, what if we come to? Why are we looking for validation through LinkedIn followers or any amount of followers?
It's just to sell her book and brag online. Millions of these posts pollute the site every day, and the people making them have no idea how cringeworthy they are. But surprisingly, that's not the worst part about LinkedIn. It isn't the scam recruitment messages or the humble brags or even
usually she what did they say? They say usually they have they're an AI expert. They said AI image generator, AI copywriter, AI automated cross-platform repurposing, AI voiceover generator. Usually I would charge $10,000 plus for this, but you can get it for free. Comment content, and I'll send over the blueprints. This is one of those courses.
CEOs posting crying selfies after firing people. The worst part is that sooner or later you're forced to join in. In the corporate world, you're massively missing out.
Not forced.
You don't adopt a fake persona. Fill your profile with inspirational quotes. Massively
missing out. Actually, that's why I'm not cut out for this stuff. That's why I'm not cut out for it. Can't be me, man. I'm not gonna be out here. I'm not gonna be out here smiling for clowns on LinkedIn. Sorry.
suits and pretend that you live for the ramblers.
It's not going to be doing that.
If you don't dance the dance, then your career could suffer. You might have spent countless hours on the site sending out applications and bashing your head against the brick wall of the modern jobs market. But unfortunately for lots of people, it's unavoidable. Today, LinkedIn is a key part of the modern corporate workplace. The culture
but it is kind of true though, because like, yeah, it is kind of true because like, you know, people don't like it when you speak your minds, especially like in like these like corporate power structures. People really don't like when you have good ideas and you speak your mind sometimes, which is an unfortunate consequence. It depends on the place that you're at, but I feel like it's more of a widespread thing than not. You know what I mean?
On the platform is just a reflection of what's going on in offices around.
What? Wait.
The culture on the platform.
What did that say? People think 12 hours straight is excessive, but here's the thing. Culture isn't something you review. It's something you internalize, something you become. Oh, they're talking about the company culture stuff. All right.
It's just a reflection of what...
They said, my staff called in sick yesterday, but I knew secretly he was abusing his work from home privilege and working from somewhere comfortable. The solution? I made him send pictures of his feet every hour on the hour? What? This is literally extortion. Huh? No excuses, no angles, no filters. If the feet looked warm, he was lying. If they looked relaxed, he was finished. What? Bro, what am I reading right now? This did not go on a LinkedIn post. What kind of Harvey Weinstein shit is this? Bro made him send pictures of his feet every hour to make sure that he was actually sick, calling in from work. What type of... Keep me as far away from any of this. I don't want to touch any of this. What the hell is this? Bro, this can't be real. This not in the big 2026. This can't be real. This is not a real LinkedIn post. I refuse to believe that. He said, I tried to get my boys fired today. Sent a text at 9 a.m. Monday. Starbucks now ship. The Week replied, I have a stand-up. My boss tracks my mouse.
But as we'll find out, it's also played a role in creating that culture in the first place.
Oh, that's like the Korean work culture. Yeah.
Reid Hoffman. Now, Hoffman is
Reid
up there with the biggest names in tech. He lives and breathes Silicon
What did he do?
Valley, but unlike other tech billionaires, Hoffman never relied on his image to get ahead. Instead, people knew him as the man with the connections. In the wake of the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s, he was the guy everyone wanted to know in Silicon Valley. If he saw potential in you or your company, then he had 1,000 big names he could introduce you to. A large part of this was thanks to his prominent position at PayPal. People always remember Elon Musk and Peter Thiel from the PayPal mafia, but it was actually Hoffman pulling the strings in the background. Thiel
went down the wrong pipe.
The credits for being one of the first investors in Facebook, for example. But it was Hoffman who actually brokered the meeting and introduced him to Mark Zuckerberg. While all of this contributed to his fortune, it wasn't what made him who he is today. Instead, Reid took his focus on connections and turned it into a product. In the late 90s, Hoffman
he made LinkedIn?
One of the first social media networks called SocialNet.com.
SocialNet in 1997.
The experience taught him valuable
Not my birth
about
year.
virality and how to get a platform off the ground. A few years
Get
later,
that off my
Hoffman was
birth year,
already
man.
rich on PayPal money and had all the connections in Silicon Valley he needed. But he saw an opportunity. While other entrepreneurs were busy messing around with generic
Friendster and
networks,
MySpace.
he was going to create one for the corporate world. When it launched in 2003, LinkedIn was very simple. It was basically a way for you to put your resume online and connect it to other people. Hoffman
that was
wasn't
a cool
even
thing.
the first to think of the idea, but his connections and business sense meant he had the head start.
See, the core of it,
He had a
the core of it, I feel like was well intentioned. I feel like the core of it was like simple, well intentioned, and it could have done a lot of good. But I feel like it changed a lot over the course, and that's what like brought it down, especially with like other social media and the expectations around it, and then corporate culture in general.
Plan for growth, which he later explained in a 2014 interview with Sam Altman. The first part revolved around getting the very first users on board. For this, Hoffman could just use his growing Silicon Valley connections.
How did you get the first million or even the first 1,000 users for LinkedIn?
So first 1,000 was easy. We just sent out invitations.
The site soon picked up momentum as other big names in Silicon Valley quickly joined in, but it still wasn't nearly enough. Hoffman had to tap into a very human fear, that you're missing out. He needed people to think that everyone they knew was on the site, that they would be left behind if they didn't join.
Yeah, that's what they told everybody in college and all that. They said, everybody make sure you're on LinkedIn. And then LinkedIn with the subscription is crazy. They're just milking the corporate culture and the what's it called, culture? Scamjucation culture.
That their careers would just be overshadowed by everyone else. This was where stage 2 came in, mining people's address books.
Probably the key thing that we innovated, and we were the first people to do this, that then
stealing people's
the growth curve to change
Rolodex.
Was upload your address book and see who else you knew was in LinkedIn.
Hoffman is only showing people half the picture here. He's leaving out how all of this really worked. LinkedIn might never have succeeded if they didn't start pushing their own plugin for Outlook. It seemed simple to the first users. It told them it would just take all of their existing email contacts and check if they were on LinkedIn. Then the site would ask users if they wanted to invite other people. It was deliberately vague, making it seem like they could already be on the site and that you were just sending a friend request. Instead, though, people would accidentally send out mass emails to the whole address book inviting them all to LinkedIn. Even though it did take around 3 emails on average for someone to join the platform, the sheer volume of invitations was enough and LinkedIn grew like a weed. Tactic worked, and their initial growth projections were incredibly ambitious, but LinkedIn still surpassed them by more than double. Imagine how much better LinkedIn would be today if it just still looked like an address book. You wouldn't have to wade through the knee-high quagmire of scam artists and useless posts. You could just connect.
They said Sarah deserves her own Marvel movie, but what did Sarah do? Yesterday, I woke up at 5:30 a.m., left my house at 6 a.m., drove 1 hour to my university, worked for 8 hours, went to class for 6 hours, and then drove back home for 1 hour. That's a 16-hour workday. Why? Because I'm dedicated to my own success. I'll never be mad at people for working hard because I work harder than a lot of people, but like, I feel like it being pressed on people to like. Some people don't want to do all that. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's like mandatory to even be considered in any conversation is troubling and concerning. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't have that in them, and a lot of people are like killing themselves to try to have that in them, which is unfortunate.
And useless posts. You could just connect with the people you needed to get directly to the source.
Like the whole posting thing is entirely unnecessary.
You wouldn't need to spend 40 hours a week applying to jobs just to have a slim chance. Things would still be hard, but they would be a whole lot easier as well. But to monetize his product as much as he could, Hoffman had to go beyond these societal constraints. He had to push people's psychology further. To do this, he hacked into the same fear of missing out that the site used to have, offering people who paid further reach than the people who didn't. By 2005, just 2 years after launch, LinkedIn then rolled out their in-mail service. For a monthly fee, people could go beyond the people they had connected with and send spam messages to tons more people. They could even message people over 3 degrees of separation away from them, friends of friends of friends. Their press release even admits that most of these messages wouldn't get replies, but people still ate it up anyway. And so this was the beginning of LinkedIn's monetization. Today, it's grown to astronomical levels. $30 a month for individuals.
$30 a month? That's outrageous. What? Nah, they got people in a chokehold, bro. Nah, LinkedIn has people in a chokehold. $30 a month for LinkedIn? That's more than like any other useful service. That's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy.
Dangling stats about how much more likely you are to get a job. Really, if you have a job, you don't need the subscription, so it's in their interest to keep you searching. Over time, LinkedIn would slowly create higher tiers and more ways for people
premium
to do
business tier,
adding in premium plus accounts. business
What
accounts,
is even
all
the
sorts
point,
of
man?
layers and
This is so
artificial
far
restrictions.
removed from the desire to help people connect. It's so far removed from it.
In the way of what the site used to do for free. It's just the classic startup strategy. Start out with a good system supported by investor cash, then make it worse while squeezing the user base for money once you've got them hooked. LinkedIn grew fast, so Hoffman could start this process quickly. First to 1,000, then to 1 million, then quickly to 100 million users in the space of a few years. But even at this early stage, LinkedIn was already starting to embrace ideas from other social media platforms.
What's that?
In 2007,
Posting pics?
for example, they began to build infrastructure for people to upload professional photos for their profiles. It was a small
and then it became a whole thing.
Step for the site, but it still watered down the initial goal of LinkedIn, being solely dedicated to making business connections. Pictures
I don't think it waters it down, actually. I think it improves it, at least that aspect of it, like having a profile picture, because like well, I think it improves it a little bit. I think it also takes away from it for people that are like really judgmental about the about like people that they're looking at and not people who are good for the job, you know what I mean? But for certain jobs, the look and stuff is important. So you kind of want to like get an idea of like what the person looks for. Like if somebody was looking for a job for like either they were looking for like a modeling job or something like that, then you obviously need to have pictures for that. Granted, that's not important for every job, but I think it adds some and it takes away some, because some people are using that for the wrong reasons, to like profile people in or out of certain jobs, but it's also useful for other things, and it's also just like to have like a name to the face, you know what I mean, so you can like recognize who you're talking to if you're talking to them, which at its core level I think is a good thing, but also, you know, people are going to misuse a good thing sometimes.
Smiling professional people helped create the impression that LinkedIn was popular and worth joining, while slightly lowering the amount of actually useful information on the site. Later in 2012, LinkedIn pivoted away from connections almost entirely. They then began letting people follow other accounts just like Twitter. At first, it was just for a few select people like Big C.
Most popular influencer post: 5 top tips for starting. Oh, Richard Branson.
CEOs or politicians. They could also make their own posts talking about personal stories or their tips for business or whatever else was on their mind. But pretty soon, it extended to everyone. People were pushed towards treating the site like a sanitized corporate version of Twitter. That same year, they also let people add more pictures, videos, and other personal branding onto their profiles.
I like the ability. I liked what they did with it by allowing you to post like different projects and stuff that you've worked on and all that, and like put detail into it and really show off the stuff that you have. But like that's part of the core functionality, I feel, but just got added later. But the whole posting and all that is like,
Twitter. The reasons were obvious. Like
that's
other
so
social
whack
media
to
sites,
me.
engagement was king for LinkedIn, and they wanted people spending as much time on the platform as possible.
So
this
whack
meant
to me.
old, bare-bones professional parts of the site, replacing it with more content and visual elements instead. The incentives of getting rewarded with actual benefits like professional connections and job offers quickly moved onto the site itself. No longer was this about getting rewarded with actual benefits like professional connections and job offers. Soon enough, it wasn't just about chasing that key introduction with an influential person like people had done in real life. Rather, the incentive was now about gathering likes and followers and online clout. LinkedIn had created a parallel dimension to the workplace, a more liquid corporate world where your false corporate persona becomes your entire identity. In the real world, you can only really humble brag and sell yourself to the people physically in front of you, and your ability to do this is governed by social convention. If you do it too much or too obviously, people just see through it. So LinkedIn took that corporate fakeness and turned it into a competition. You could now create a whole profile full of fakeness and turn it
it's just people like flexing.
You could
Yo, last week She said, last week I shared how Gen AI is moving us from the age of information to the age of intelligence. Technology is changing rapidly, and the way customers shop and buy is changing too. Okay, this is about to be a whole AI. You know what's crazy about this too? I bet you a lot of these posts people aren't even really writing. They probably just typed it in like ChatGPT prompter and then threw it up. So it's just going to be like ChatGPT flexing on itself in the comments.
Now create a whole profile
or in on posts and stuff.
Stories and a list of your achievements dressed up to sound as impressive as possible. Whoever could rub their success in other people's faces in the most engaging way.
This is so toxic. Prospects opting out of my emails with no explanation is personal. What? Shut up. I respond by calling them every other day until they acknowledge me. For every action in nature, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The more they resist, the harder I push in order to break through. What is he talking about? What is he talking about? Prospects opting out of his emails? What is he talking about? Is he like a sales rep and he's like trying to force his way into people's wallets? Whatever, man.
Would get pushed to the top of the algorithm. It's how you can get posts like this after years of...
Gary's bragging about how his wife is going to leave him. It's crazy. Yo, people actually care about this? The best of LinkedIn. We sat down in the evening to talk. Is something wrong? I asked. Yes, she replied. Am I working too much? No.
This process. Gary doesn't
what is this, bruh?
Bragging about how his wife might leave him, as he's completely invested.
Am I spending too many hours in the office? I asked.
In the parallel world of LinkedIn instead.
No.
And he's turned his...
Am I neglecting my duties at home? He tried again. No. Okay, what is it? You aren't spending enough time with me, she replied.
Personal tragedy.
Sometimes you can say the same thing and mean entirely different. Perspective matters. Okay. Oh, you aren't spending enough time with me, she said.
It's just a lesson for wannabe entrepreneurs. Linked?
Nah, I mean, that post is honestly, I think that's okay. I think that's a fine post because he's trying to, at least from my perspective, trying to shine a light on having a healthy work-life balance. But it doesn't even look like he's like promoting balancing it. It just looks like he's just saying that he's not balancing it. I don't know. Either way, like it shines a light on it. At least like I can tell looking at it that like, oh, he is probably working too much. You know what I mean? He probably needs to take a step back. And then if I were like doing the same thing, I could look back and I could say, oh, you know what? Maybe I could learn from like what he's going through and be like, you know what? Maybe I should prioritize spending a little bit more time. So I mean, it's not. I don't think that one's that bad. Honestly, I think that's actually probably one of the more healthy ones, even if it wasn't intended that way.
Been fully intended on creating this ecosystem. In 2015, they fully dove in, adding a social media style content feed they had borrowed from a startup they bought a few years before. This was the final nail in the coffin, and LinkedIn has just never been the same since. Before, LinkedIn had been about...
Wait, what did he say?
Has just never been the same since.
He said, without telling anyone, I humbly woke up today. What do you mean? You just told everyone. Okay, we'll get past that. Suddenly, one of my old coworkers called me and said that he woke one too. What? That he woke up too exactly at the same time. How did they know? Was it a huge coincidence? I think not, because when you wake up professionally like I do, it's only natural that other people follow. What? What is he talking about? Is this a metaphor? Is he talking about metaphorically waking up to like the system of like being a professional or something? Or is he talking about literally waking up?
Before, LinkedIn had been about enhancing the professional
this is silly.
connections you already had and extending your reach. Over its first decade, though, that completely changed. The idea became for users to use online cloud to get the job offers and the actual career benefits. Whether that actually worked, though, was another matter entirely. LinkedIn still dangled the
this
carrot
is funny.
success in front of its users' faces, even after it became
Usually this stuff is reserved for people who work in media, but the fact that it's being extended to this is crazy.
All of this that any modern tech company could recognize. Engagement equals profit when you're running ads and trying to get people to sign up to monthly fees. Plus, LinkedIn users are some of the most profitable users out there. Lots of people are happy to spend vast amounts of money as business expenses, and LinkedIn charges massive amounts for recruitment features. So why not try and create an ecosystem full of engaging content, rather than just an address book?
This just looks boring as
But it wasn't just profit. Reid Hoffman knew that changing and improving the very nature of the workspace would make LinkedIn an essential part of the modern corporate world.
What I'm most interested in is how do we essentially make products that make us much better as a group, both better for us individually and better for the system.
Reid had already tried to make a social network and failed. But with LinkedIn, he could slowly build the user base, then add in the social media infrastructure later on to squeeze even more money out.
He said my boss removed me from the team chat so I could bond with my baby.
Once it gained momentum, it would achieve his goals of improving people and changing them to better fit into systems. What does that really mean? Just take a look at how LinkedIn has changed people.
So if LinkedIn was real life, I kind of want to see that those memes about it.
What does that really
That would be
mean?
funny.
Just take a look at how LinkedIn has changed people and adapted them for a
I
corporate
wanted
life.
to see those.
Today, joining LinkedIn means joining the corporate marketplace, but it isn't a free market. The entire platform is designed to be as good for employees as possible, while also taking as much of the power away from employees as possible. Searching for a job on LinkedIn is soul-crushing because of how it's set up. You might get tons of messages at first, but 99% of them aren't going to be relevant or trustworthy. Instead, they'll be from recruiters. 99% of them aren't going to be.
Honestly, like, that could legitimately be real, but the chances of it being a scam are there.
Relevant or trustworthy. Instead, they'll be from recruiters sending messages to thousands of people. They might not be hiring for your location.
Yeah, chances of that being a scam are very real, but
it just doesn't even matter.
It could just be a guy reaching out.
Information and maybe to hack your account if they're particularly malicious. With all their money and power over their own platform,
they're hacking LinkedIn accounts.
Down on this, but they don't.
Silly.
Maybe because it increases engagement and keeps people coming back to the site to check their notifications. Going the other direction and applying to jobs yourself isn't likely to work either. LinkedIn is full of so-called ghost jobs, job openings that get advertised.
I heard about that. Yeah, we talked about that in another video.
Lots of companies want it to look like they're always hiring. There are tons of benefits to doing this. They have a continual, steady flow of applicants without really having to do anything. If they ever get someone vastly overqualified who doesn't know their own worth, it pays for itself. They might not even have a job opening, they're just looking to see who's out there. Today, the ghost job rate is at 30%, including on LinkedIn. In some industries, it's double that. So depending on your job, over half of the applications you spend days working on aren't actually going anywhere. We're not built to deal with these levels of rejection, constantly banging your head against the wall with no reward. But going through this process better conditions you for corporate life. Lots of these problems aren't unique to LinkedIn though. They just make the situation on the site that much worse. The real problem that LinkedIn creates is based on what it rewards and how it forces people to portray themselves.
Wait, is he on there?
Profile on LinkedIn is much more similar to making a
Are you on there, Moon?
than to writing a CV. To stand out
That's
on the
hilarious.
platform today, you need to maximize the visual appeal.
Marketing.
People add insane job titles, dressing up their actual experience to look amazing, with as many big.
It said, I work at a cafe, customer experience professional, specializing in crafted beverages and hospitality workflows. Oh gosh, that sounds agonizing. They said, I'm a student who likes cooking, exaggerated, self-taught chef exploring global flavors while mastering the art of meal creation. Normal. I edit videos for small creators, exaggerated, digital media specialist optimizing high impact visual content for emerging online brands. This is just marketing.
big corporate buzzwords as possible. The amount of job posts you make, the hashtags you include, and the reach they have are far more important
That's
now
so funny,
than
though.
your actual achievements. Obviously, having good, real-world experience...
That's kind of similar to content creation, though, sometimes. I feel like, especially with, like, titles or, like, descriptions or stuff like that, or, like, you put it on, like, your social media account. You really do want to have something that's, like, eye-catching, but also, like, you know, genuine. Or if you're just capping, don't make it genuine. That's what some people do.
But it doesn't matter nearly as much as it used to. Your profile will likely get lost in the noise. That's another problem. Just like dating apps, you're subtly competing with far more people than you were before. Recruiters are comparing your CV and your profile to people across the world. LinkedIn isn't going to restrict...
Wait a minute, why did that look like... Oh, I thought that was Zac Efron for a second. Right here, I thought this was Zac Efron.
The world. LinkedIn isn't going to restrict who they see. The results
He
are the same
has
on LinkedIn for employees as they are for men on Tinder. The numbers just don't add up, and there are far more employees looking for jobs and men looking for women.
Yo, that's crazy. Hey, wait, that's a crazy comparison. LinkedIn, for people looking for a job, is just like Tinder for men looking for women. That's crazy. That's crazy when you think about it. Wow. Insane.
And there are far more LinkedIn for employees as they are for men on
That's
Tinder.
a bar right there,
the numbers
though.
just don't add up, and there are far more employees
What did you say?
looking for
jobs.
jobs.
That's Tinder's generation.
And men looking for women. Just like with men on dating apps, lots of people employ the shotgun approach. They just send out thousands of applications to whatever jobs they can find, regardless of if they're actually qualified. Suddenly, you're trying to get heard and noticed, even though hundreds of people are sending in applications at the same time as you. Your application might be well considered, you might be the best candidate. But if you never actually give your application any proper thought, then it just doesn't matter. Meanwhile, just like on Tinder, the illusion of choice makes employers far more picky. They wait for months or even years for that dream candidate to come along, ignoring all the real people who try to apply. Through all this rejection and all this useless work, people looking for a job still have to keep up this illusion. They have to pretend to employers that they're happy and positive and so incredibly excited to work in such a fast-paced, innovative company. It's just the same performance that people have done in offices around the world for years. But now LinkedIn has made it a 24/7 process. Don't believe me? People even have to keep up the performance after they've lost their jobs. Just have a look at some of these posts made after Meta fired 11,000 employees in 2020.
Okay, this part, yeah, I really don't like this part of
They'll
it.
talk about how amazing Meta was, despite just being...
I said working at Meta has been the highlight of my career. After 4.5 years, was unfortunately one of the thousands of people impacted by the layoff announcement today. From starting the Global Vertical Insights program to speaking at some of the world's largest advertising conferences to leading industry-changing thought leadership initiative, I think. I've had some of my proudest moments working for a company that impacts billions of people every single day. If you or your company is in need of a seasoned insight strategist research professional, please let him know. Kyle Ranley.
They'll say how grateful they were for their time at the company. They might talk about the...
He's eternally grateful for his experience and connections that he made. You know what? Actually, reading from this, it kind of sounds like, I don't know, there can be truth to it and he can still be upset about it at the same time. You know what I mean? Because while he may be upset about getting laid off, that's not mutually exclusive to being appreciative of the things that he got while he was there. You know what I mean? That's not mutually exclusive. He can entirely still be connected to a lot of the people that he met while he was there and appreciate that. And also be very upset that he got laid off. Because he could still, he's still connected to those people and those people could still help him after the fact too. So it's like, I don't know. This one's a little bit, I feel like this one might be one of the better examples of this. But I've definitely seen some mask wearing posts after this. After stuff like this that are way worse.
Overwhelming outpouring of support. Lots of them will post pictures of their dog or their children. Another way
Dang, yo, that's crazy. He said, hard to believe today is his last day at Meta. While the news was sudden, he's incredibly grateful for the past 2 years working alongside some of the most talented people in the industry. Thank you to his managers and team for the mentorship and memories. Looking forward to new adventures, but first, some quality time with this guy. He's probably fine, though, for real. He's probably fine, for real. If he was working at Meta as a software engineer, realistically, if he wasn't stupid with his money, he has plenty right now, still. And he'll be fine until his next opportunity.
That Instagram culture has leaked in. They all read out exactly the same way, and that's kind of the point. It's all a performance they're being forced to play out, just to advertise they're looking for a job again. At the same time, companies couldn't care less about how they fire people.
Elon Musk says he's cut out about 80% of Twitter's staff? What?
They'll lay off thousands with pre-recorded video messages or email. Some employees have only found out after the security keys recorded video messages or email. Some employees have only found out.
What did they say? What did she say?
Thousands
Not
with
my
pre-recorded
expectations.
video messages or email.
Decided to part ways.
Some employees have only found.
She said, yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Out after the security
Didn't realize they were laid off until their badges wouldn't let them into the office. Whoa, that's insane.
And the reason why it's so malicious to people's sense of self-worth. Before, being fired was the opportunity to finally leave the corporate performance behind. You could let loose, take a deep breath, and for at least a little while, be yourself. But today, you have to keep up the facade. The show must go on, and you need to make
so the
these
show
kinds
must
of
go
posts,
on.
all while having the knowledge that the terrible process of the job hunt is waiting for you around the corner. LinkedIn is only going to get worse. Now AI has made the platform even more full of spam. Anyone can get ChatGPT to write an emoji-filled post about synergy in the workplace, and LinkedIn.
This sounds so dreary. Synergy in the workplace isn't just a buzzword. It's the secret sauce. We collaborate and leverage it. It's not even spelled right. Leverage each other's strengths. Amazing things can happen. Let's break down silos and build bridges. Now, if this is genuine, I appreciate it. But if it's just like random pandering and pindering, whatever.
Will spread that slop to thousands of people. Meanwhile, LinkedIn is hoovering up all the posts and data to train their own AI models, including all the information you put on the site about yourself. If you don't want that happening, you need to leave now. Now, you should do whatever it takes to succeed,
you need to
but
leave
at the
now.
same time, giving in and going along with this modern corporate performance isn't truly necessary.
Excuse
to
me.
keep yourself sane and to keep some part of you alive, you can't give yourself completely to the corporate rat race. Otherwise, you might just end up actually believing in all of this nonsense.
A W video, man. That was a really W video. Did I leave a comment saying that? Did I do that? Did I do it yet? Okay. No, we're gonna do it now then. W video, Moon. W video, bro. Yeah, I like that video. That was a good one. These videos like this, man. That's such a. I wonder what would actually fix a problem like that, because that's on such a large scale now, you know what I mean? But I don't know, let me know what y'all think about that one, because you have to let me know in the comments when I upload it, because I'm definitely about to hop off now. It's about we're about an hour 20 minutes in for sure, 100%. I hope you guys enjoyed it today. I sure did. It was fun. It's been cool. It's been a good time. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Be sure to like and subscribe. We got some more coming up, and got some more videos coming up. Got one coming a little bit later today. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.